What is the most violent prison in Missouri, and how is it compared to, how did Missouri prisons compare to other states? That's what we'll be talking about today. There are probably now more violent prisons in other states than there are in some of the Missouri ones, but don't get it twisted. There's violent ones in Missouri too. The Missouri State Penitentiary was nicknamed by Times Magazine the bloodiest 47 acres, but it closed in 2004. There was a lot of violence there, a lot. Over the years, being transferred to different prisons. Some of them I would call soft, some of them average violence. And I would say when I got out that there was probably in places like California, Texas, prisons that were more violent. But I've heard things about lately about South Central Correctional Center in Licking, Missouri. They've nicknamed it the Wild West because of the violence and the corruption from staff. I think a lot of the violence comes from being understaffed and, you know, not enough people working there, and just there's a lot of factors going into that. But at one time when I first got there, it wasn't that bad. And then over the years, I was there 12 years. It got worse and worse. Now I have friends there who was at Missouri State Penitentiary with me, and they compare it to Missouri State Penitentiary, except they said there's no order to it. It's all chaos. We used to say that there was an order to the chaos at Missouri State Penitentiary. But these days, at South Central Correctional Center, and I think Bonne Terre too, and to a certain degree, places like JCCC, but probably South Central Correctional Center is probably the worst one now in the state out of Missouri, I would say. Some of them, this guy tells me that his dad did time in Missouri and said they was soft. Well, I don't know what prisons he was in, but I don't think the prisons being soft is the right word. I think there was a lot of soft people. That's not saying that all of them were soft, because they're not. You got some people that will take you out. But I have been in prisons where you can go weeks at a time with nothing happening. In fact, when I was at Algoa, I saw one major fight, where a guy took out, he didn't take him out, but he knocked him out. And another prisoner knocked out a CO and was fighting with another CO. And that was the most major thing I seen there at Algoa. But the rest of the time it was just kind of boring, man. People went about their business and worked out, played horseshoes, walked the track, all that stuff, like there wasn't a care in the world. I don't care what prison you're in. I don't care if you think it's the softest prison or not. You don't walk around like that. Stay aware. I used to tell people that Algoa that I knew, like from the streets, man, you guys need to be aware. Oh, there ain't nothing going to happen here. Nothing never happens here. Well, that's probably true, but you never know. Stay on guard. Charleston is another one that's gotten bad. They used to tell me in South Central Correctional Center, people who came from there, this is not racist or anything, but they said if you go to Charleston and you're white, you better learn to fight. If you don't know how to fight, you better be willing to fight, because you're going to get into it. That was just the facts. And We don't have all the things that, like California, the yards separated and stuff. We don't have that in Missouri. Don't have to join the organization here in Missouri, or you didn't when I left. A lot of people do though, but you don't have to. Just because there's not a whole lot of violent prisons in Missouri, in my opinion, doesn't mean that there's not violence in them. I compare everything to Missouri State Penitentiary, and in my opinion, none of them in Missouri compare to it, which means that they don't compare to. You can't compare them to any of the ones in other states. You know that it's. I had friends telling me licking's getting bad, man, as bad as Missouri State Penitentiary. I find that hard to believe, but I don't see why they have reason to lie about me. And you can Google it about the violence there. A lot of it is stuff coming in that people, you know, the big F, the H, the big M, all these things coming in that people are selling, buying, using. Most of it is brought in by COs, or was. I don't know about now, because I hear they're trying to crack down on SCCC, stuck out in the middle of nowhere. Bunch of good old boys working there. And I'm not trying to say that they're all corrupt there. Some of them go there and do their job and go home. That's all they want to do, is do their 8 hours and go home. But you have some, a good portion, and apparently it's a clique of them that's bringing in illegal stuff introducing illegal substances into an institution. I think that's the way they word it when they're talking about it. And I think not long ago, a CO got arrested there. And I was looking at his picture, and he looked like he should be in prison. He looked like a convict. But, so as far as violence goes, it seems to be rising in places like Licking and Charleston and Bonne Terre. But there's 21, 22 prisons in Missouri, and most of them are not violent. I mean, it doesn't say that violence happens, but it's like I told you, you can go weeks, maybe even months without anything happening. So I think it's kind of hard to compare to other states, because you know, politics and things are different, culture is different, but most of them are daycare centers compared to the ones in places like California and Texas. Now, places like Licking, Charleston, like I said, they got their share of violence, but to me personally, I don't think they're as bad as in some of the other states. Now, they might be worse in states that you never hear about, but that's just my opinion. And I was asked to do a video on this, and if you guys hit that like and subscribe if you like the video and if you want to hear more about that. And I thank you for watching.